Okay, hi everyone. This is Aastha Sharma. A brief background about myself. Uh, I'm a fresher from NIFT Mumbai with fashion technology, and I got admitted. I got calls from IM A, B, L, K, I, and all the CAP calls, along with that FMS call. And I joined IM Ahmedabad. Um, I am currently in my year 1, which will finish this April, and I'll be interning after that in BCG. So about the PDP, so one thing I would like to say to all of you before anything else, that once you get a call, you should keep a mind frame that they have given you a call letter because they want you. So in interviews or in your group discussions or in your written ability test, all you have to do is not give them a reason to reject you. So if you go with this mindset, go with a positive mindset, I don't think there will be any problem in that. Secondly, I am going to share how I went through the entire preparation process for my interviews. And after that, we can open for Q&A. So in IIMs, you do not have group discussions. IIM Bangalore and IIM Ahmedabad conducts written ability tests. IIM Bangalore conducts a written ability test, whereas in IIM Ahmedabad, you have analytical written ability, which is basically that they give you a scenario and then based on that scenario, you have to answer a question. It's more of analysis than of writing an essay. So what happens, how we should go about is, first, we should start with introspection. That is, you need to know everything about yourself. So I started personally by writing a para about myself, wherein I wrote about, my background, my hometown, my education, my strengths, my weaknesses, who's my role model, what is my biggest achievement. So find out everything about yourself, and then whatever you have written, you need to do an in-depth study about that. For example, if I talk about my hometown, so my hometown is in Himachal Pradesh. It's in Solan. So I started reading about Solan. What when it was formed, who's the chief minister, about all the political areas, about the social areas of my hometown. It's called the Mushroom City. So why is it called the Mushroom City? So all these things you have to know about your hometown. If you are in UP, for example, so elections are coming up. So you need to know about the policies, about the schemes that the past UP government selected. They might even ask you about your opinion on, the other governments or the opposition. So you need to be aware about your hometown. Then comes about your bachelor's. So no one will be interested in your school life, as far as I know and as much as I have heard from my colleagues. So they'll be focusing more on your work experience as well as on your bachelor's. So in your bachelor's, I was from NIFT. So I was from technology background, but I had to read a lot about, what is going on in the fashion industry, what are the new technologies which are coming up, what could be improved. I read about sustainability, what can be done. I also did a graduation project. It was related to AIML. So they asked me about AIML also. So you need to study about your bachelor's. Various subjects in bachelor's, you need to revise everything. They can ask you anything in your interview. Then come your work experience. In work experience, a lot of questions like your ethical dilemma, one of your ethical dilemmas. What is the biggest success that you had in your work experience? What are the biggest challenges that you faced in your work experience? Now, if your bachelor's and your work experience are in similar field, it's fine. If they're not in a similar field, they might ask you why you changed it. What was the reason that you wanted to change your bachelor's field? So all these about your bachelor's. If you have a gap year, it does not matter. They will ask you what were you doing that time. So if you just say that I was preparing for CAT or I was preparing for this exam, it is not in your disadvantage. It's a thing that a lot of people have, that I dropped an year to prepare for CAT. It might be in my disadvantage. It is not. Thirdly, after all this, you need to know your current affairs. So current affairs, basically, what I did, I used to read 2 newspapers every day, the Hindu and the Economic Times. So read it every day. take notes of the important points, revise it every weekend. They might ask you your opinion on any current topic that is going on. They might ask you your opinion on how government should, react to this COVID situation. What could they have done better? What they did wrong? What they did right? So anything could be there. You need to know about all those things. So your current affairs are an important aspect here. Besides your bachelor's, about your hometown, your current affairs, you also need to know everything about, like I said initially, about yourself. So they can ask you anything about your role model. Why is that particular person your role model? What they did in their life. So if your role model is your personal role model, it's fine. If it's not, if it's a professional person, like any person you seem to be a role model, you need to know about that person. So when it comes to personal interviews, what you need to do in short is write about yourself, and with every word you should have a story prepared. With every word you should have in-depth knowledge about everything that you did in your life. You should not don't keep a loop that, I will not study this. So they might even ask you anything. Nothing is going to start from nothing they are going to ask which you have not studied. So everything which they ask will be related to you. So we should keep that in mind. Now coming to group discussion and written ability tests. So in written ability test, you don't have to prepare a lot. Again, one thing that matters here is your knowledge about the current affairs or your current topics. So you can see what are the current topics going on, write about it. Then about your analytical written ability test, nothing. For my analytical written ability test, it was an essay on farm laws, and they just asked my opinion on the farm laws. Is it right or is it wrong? So that was my only thing that came in analytical. So again, your current affairs matter here. Besides from that, when you go to your interview, the thing that impresses them the most is, one, their confidence. They are not looking for someone who knows everything. They might ask you a lot of questions. If you're not from eco background, they might ask you 1 or 2 economics questions. You don't have to do anything there. You can easily say, sir, I do not know about it, but I would like to know about it after I go back to my place. So it's completely fine. They want you because you are, what matters to them is honesty and your confidence. So keep that in mind. Keep a smile on your face. That gives a very positive impression about yourself. Coming to group discussions, I personally did not sit for any group discussion, but before coming for the session, I had a conversation with one of my friends who sat for group discussion so that I can tell you guys better. The only thing that matters in group discussions, number one, as I have said a lot of times, current affairs. And number two is the fact that, so when a group discussion topic comes up, you have to start a topic. You have to run it through people. So you do not have to fight with people. That's a debate. In group discussion, you have to come out, you have to take out a conclusion of that topic with the other people. So they're looking for teamwork there. And then make sure you conclude that. So you're starting and you're concluding matters here, and your teamwork is what they're looking for in group discussions. I will share about my IIM Ahmedabad interview. It was a full stress interview. So this is one of the misconceptions that people have, that, if your interview is stress interview, you might not get selected. That is not the case. They just want to give you stress so that they can check how much you can keep yourself in senses, even in a stressful situation. So my Ahmedabad interview went for around 35 minutes. It was a very lengthy, very stressful interview. They started with the basic question, tell us about yourself. So I had an answer prepared. So we should always prepare at least this answer, because it gives you a basic flow and it gives you more confidence because you answered the first question. So I told them about myself. I told about my hometown. I told about my family. I told about my bachelor's. I told about the graduation project I did. And then they started talking to me about my graduation project. So I talked about my graduation project because I wanted them to ask me questions about my graduation project. So the first takeaway from this is, make sure you say things from which you want them to ask you. They are not going to ask you from anywhere. So say things which you're confident about. They started asking me about my graduation project. So I told them about my graduation project, how I went through it. What did I do? What did I learn? So this was how I went about talking about my graduation project. After that, they started talking about my hobbies. So I told them painting is my hobby. They asked me what are the different types of brushes, what are different types of paints, what are different types of oils we use in paints, and all these things. So after that, because I belong to a background which is fashion technology and it is not a very mathematical oriented background, they wanted to check how much I can handle maths, because in MBA there are a lot of subjects which include maths and which include your mathematical abilities. So they gave me 3 maths questions. First one was very easy. I did it. It was basically calculating the mean. I did it. Second one was very difficult. I tried. I gave them a wrong answer. I asked them if I could try it again. Again, I gave them a wrong answer. And they asked me if I could try it for the 3rd time or if I want to skip this question. I told them I want to try it again. I tried it for the 3rd time. I could not give them the right answer, but I told them how I approached it. So they told me where I went wrong, and they said that they appreciated me for my efforts of trying it. It took me 10 minutes to solve that question, which I could not solve correctly. I somewhere lost that confidence in that period of time because I could not do it. Then they gave me another question, which was even more difficult. It was a math statistical questions where I had to use regression and do something. I did not know about that. So I told them very frankly, sir, I'm not aware about the regression. So they gave me a formula. They asked me to put things in this formula and give them a final answer. So there was something related to differentiation. I had studied differentiation a bit for my CAT preparation. So I told them my approach and I got an answer which was almost fine for them. So that's how this part was over. And then at last they asked me why I wanted to be part of IMA and what is that I would prefer IMA over any other institute. So this is again one of the answers you should prepare for. So if it's IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Kozhikode, Udaipur, Rohtak, whichever IIM is it, you should have a prepared answer. Why do you want to go to that particular IIM? And at the end, they asked me if I have any questions for them to ask. I asked them that since I am interested in research projects, in IIM Ahmedabad, will I get an opportunity to do a research project with a professor? What I knew and what my mentors told me while I was preparing, you should never say no to when they ask you to ask a question. So you should always keep in mind what do you want to ask them if they ask you the same question. So that was my whole interview experience. For me, it was not a great interview. It was a very stressful interview. I could not answer some questions. There were a few GK questions also, which I forgot to tell you guys about. So they asked me about the recent Nobel Prize winner, what work he or she did, why they won the Nobel Prize. So they asked me all these questions. I was not aware. I told them about the Nobel Prize winner I knew about. So it was not a very great interview. But what they liked, so I met a professor who took my interview when I came to IIM Ahmedabad. And he told me that what they liked about me was the part that I never gave up and I tried and I was confident. So the only takeaway which you guys should have is prepare your best. Do not leave anything to study. Study everything and be confident.
Hello. Hi, Aastha.
Hi.
It was very nice to hear from you about your experience. I would like to ask you that do we need to go in depth about the specializations in MBA? Means, will they ask something about it?
Not in depth, but I think you should be aware about 1 or 2 subjects that you would be interested in while you pursue MBA. So that would be enough. You don't need to go in depth about everything. But you should know what all specializations are they offering. That's it.
Means if they will ask about means finance or HR, will they ask anything about means any subject related to it or any topic?
No, they won't. They might ask you if they want to put you under stress, and for that, all you have to say, "Sir, I am not aware about it, but I would like to study more about it. So I'll go home and study about it." So anything similar to that you can say, but you should be aware what all specializations they are offering, and keep a sense of name of one or two subjects. That's it.
Okay. And my another question is that I am having 3 years of experience in IT sector, and will they ask anything about my graduation level subjects or only related to project experience?
So with a work ex of 3 years, they most probably they will not ask you about your graduation project, but they can ask you. Like there's a no sure thing that they will not ask you. So it's better to just go through everything once, see everything once. They will not ask you everything in detail, but they might ask you.
Okay. So any one or two subjects if I will prepare, so will it be easy for me, or all the subjects I need to go through?
So I would say most of the times what they do, they ask you for your favorite subject and they ask questions
Yeah,
from
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So you can prepare for one or two subjects.
Okay,
But again, if they want to put you under stress, they can ask from anywhere.
okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Well,
Hi.
hi.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't have the mic access earlier. Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your experience. So my question is more of a generic type, which is like, why do you want to do MBA? And I mean, how do we structure this and answer this question? And how do we inculcate our goals and how this college would help us? So if you can throw some light on this, it would be very helpful for me. Thank you.
Sure. So yes, thank you for bringing it up. I forgot about this question. It's a very important question by MBA. And I'll tell you how I went about preparing this question. So the idea behind this question is no one is sure personally, like I feel, I heard from my colleagues also, no one is sure why they want to do MBA. But that is not something you should say in an interview. Your question should align with your goals and with what you did in the past. So what you did in the past, what you want to do in your future, and based on that, in between is why you want to do your MBA. So I'll tell you what I prepared for this answer, and based on that, if there are any clarifying questions I can answer. So I started with I want to do MBA. I linked it with the graduation project I did. So I did a graduation project in IIT Bombay. It was a research project. It was related to ML and implementing ML in the fashion industry. So what I said was that while doing that project, I realized the loopholes which are there in the fashion industry, and to fulfill that loopholes or fill that loopholes, I need to be at a position in fashion industry where I can implement my ideas, where I have the power to do that, and MBA will personally give me that power to implement those ideas. So in these lines, I prepared my answer for why MBA. If you have a work-ex, you need to prepare your answer based on that. You cannot simply say that I want to change my field, which most of the people want to do if they want to pursue an MBA. So you need to prepare your answer with a basic structure, what you did in the past, what you want to do in the future, and why do you want to do MBA. With this, the another thing that I forgot to tell you, another important question, what are your aspirations after 5 years and after 10 years? So this is another question you should prepare for. Dikshant, I hope I answered your question, but if you have any more clarifying questions, I can take that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for addressing that. So one thing which I would like to ask you is, MBA provides the framework to business and their operations, right? So how can we add this point to our answer, or anything we can try to include this in our answer?
So if one thing, if you can build up one few of my colleagues, what they did for this answer, they came up with a business model, and they were like, we want to establish this business, and MBA will basically, help us gain more insights in how to go about it, and also help us bring some investors. It is a very frank answer and very convincing answer. You can do it this way. The second way I think we can answer this in bringing the business part of MBA is, if you want to you can link it with what you want to do after 5 to 10 years. So probably, if you're interested in finance and you want to become a CFO, so how MBA will, how knowledge of business and how knowledge of finance will help you reach that position in your life. So these are the two ways you can answer this question. Okay, we can go to next person, Ankur.
Yes, hi Astha. I wanted to ask two questions. The first one is that, as you told that most answers would be depending upon WorkX, and most of the questions would be depending upon WorkX. But I'm a fresher and I did my graduation from Delhi University, and as per that, I was not having any, like, there was no project, as it was not in engineering field, as well as it was not also fashion technology. So it was simple BSc. So I want to ask, what kind of questions will they ask from me?
So from, if you do not have any project, or if you do not have anything, and if you're a fresher, the questions will be related to the subjects that you have studied. They might ask you for your favorite subject. They might pick up any subject from your bachelor's, ask you questions from that. They might ask you questions from your hobbies, they might even ask your current affairs. So major chances of the subjects that you have studied in your bachelor's. So you should prepare your subjects and revise all your subjects thoroughly, I suggest.
Okay, and one more question is this, that I have related my this experience of why MBA with my learnings in college. Like, I was there in cultural fest and something, and I also had one of the internships there. So I have related to that, but I'm not sure what I will do after 5 or 10 years. So what should I say in long-term goals, and how should I, like, introspect mainly?
So the idea of introspecting is, again, after 5-10 years, no one is sure, and they also know no one is sure where you will reach after 5 to 10 years. So in order to reach that question, you basically, like you talked about, so in YMB, you related to your cultural fest or your internship. So you can develop that internship, or you can say that, I want to grow in this field and reach at a position of probably the head where I can bring some changes in 5 years. And in 10 years, you probably want to start up, start your own things in this area, or you want to add some more aspects to what your idea of YMBA is. So link it to your YMBA. Just search a bit, like, if there are few people in this field. So you can, the easiest way of doing this, I want to reach a position of probably, this person, where this person is right now. So you need to do some of the research, and probably you can come up with this idea.
Okay, and can we answer it in the lines of that in MBA I want to explore certain things, and then I would, with that informed decision, I want to take a decision with that information which I'll get in MBA to decide what I'll do in 5 or 10 years, something like that.
I suggest do not show them that you're very uncertain about your future. They are looking for people who have a clear vision, and what you're saying is very honest, but they're looking for people who have a clear vision, and that gives a more impact to your answer. So I would suggest against what you're saying right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Srinidhi?
Hi, Aastha, I'm Srinidhi. So I have a doubt. If I mention I want to become a strategic consultant, or like in the areas of M&A, like mergers and acquisitions or stuff, will I be grilled in like YMBA stuff? Like, I really want to do that, but I don't know whether my knowledge is sufficient for like answering an interview.
You can say you want to reach that position. MBA is easiest way to reach what you want to do. They might not grill you, but make sure you have knowledge about current affairs, like what are the recent mergers and acquisitions, why they happened. So they are not going to ask you about, taking strategic decisions right now. That is what they're going to teach you in MBA. So they're not expecting you to know everything about it, but yes, make sure you are aware about the recent affairs related to what you want to do.
Oh, okay. And can I say like consulting in the field of if I want to become a strategic consultant, will that be fine? Or should be really specific to a field?
I think you should need to be more specific. Strategic consultant, you become directly after an MBA. So you can say probably you want to become a partner in the area of consultancy after 10 years. Or you want to reach a position of, like in a project manager or an engagement manager after 5 years. So be more specific if they ask you this.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Also, one thing we see as a teachers even, that most of the people who are not engineers, just like you,
Yeah.
Usually are not very confident about CAT. And I think statistics, even statistically speaking, they're right. Okay, it's GMAT. When we see all kind of people having an equal kind of a, I would say, hit they can have. But in CAT, obviously in the past 2-3 years, we see a change, very big change right from 2018. And the diversity point is coming as a very big point right now. Obviously, if you want to be global, how can you leave the diversity point? But how a normal student, just like Ankur was asking, that I'm a normal BSc student from DU. Now, this is what the problem as a teacher we feel is, if you don't have 100% confidence while going in a war, let's say any kind of a battle or a war, it will be basically you have defeated yourself, or you are, in a way, you are bound to be a loser. That's how we see it as. So how do you think we should be handling as a teachers that question? And because what I feel is you win first in your mind.
Yeah.
And so in your case, even when we look at what I can make out from your talk is, till the time you got the results, you were not very confident whether you would be selected for IMA or not, because you thought that interview didn't go well.
Yes.
So how to handle, let's say as a teacher, I'm asking that, because my understanding is, before having any knowledge or skills or a talent, first you have to be a winner in your mind. How to handle that question?
I'll answer this question very personally. So how I went about boosting up my confidence, because I personally feel that being confident, being positive solves half of your problem, and you pass half of your difficulties. So what I used to do, I always dreamt of going to IIM Ahmedabad. My motivation behind it was, I had my phone wallpaper as a gate of IIM Ahmedabad, and my only motivation, I have to enter this gate. That's how I kept myself motivated no matter what happened. I had bad marks. My CAT did not go great because I panicked during the VARC section. But I gained, I still got calls, one because of my diversity, and I will talk about the diversity aspect later. And secondly, because after not doing great in VARC, I told myself that, you fucked up one session, you cannot do bad in other two sections. So in DLR and Quant, I did very nicely. In Quant was my weakest area, but in Quant, I solved all the questions and only 2 were wrong. That is one of the reasons my percentile boosted up besides a bad VARC score. Coming to the aspect of non-engineers and non-maths background people, that's why the concept of diversity is there, because they want to give an equal opportunity to everyone. Engineers are strong with quant. It's not very difficult for them. And I have personally observed it in my this 1-year journey of MBA. So they brought this diversity concept so that people like us who do not have maths background, if engineers are getting call at 99, we get a call at 97 or 98, because we cannot score as good as them. So it is for giving you a fair chance. So if you feel that you're not from maths background, you cannot get through it, they want you. That's why they bought this diversity concept. Else it's very difficult for us to compete with engineers when it comes to maths. about boosting confidence and gaining motivation, I think it comes from within. Hi.
Hello. Yeah,
Yes.
congratulations for getting the BCG internship.
Thank you.
So I got the call from Cal, and my question was if they asked why Cal. So I prepared a structured answer citing the curriculum, faculty, peer group, and infrastructure. And if they ask me second question, these are all the qualities of all the IIMs. So what should I answer them?
Sorry, your voice broke from me. If they ask you question regarding?
No, why they said it asked why XYZ Institute. So the structured answer will be like curriculum, faculty, peer group, right? And if they again ask the other cross question that question by saying that this all the qualities are all the main IIMs have these qualities. So what's so special about this XYZ Institute? So how do you will answer that?
Okay, so in my Lucknow interview, they asked me I'll share my experience. In my Lucknow interview, they asked me what if I get a call from IIM. I told them why I am Lucknow, and they asked me if I got a call from IIM Ahmedabad and I am Lucknow. I convert IIM Ahmedabad and Lucknow, which college I go to. I told them very honestly that I'll go to IIM Ahmedabad because of the ranking, and obviously it's the oldest institute. But when I also had a prepared set in mind. If they ask me between IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, and Calcutta, my answer would be I would research more about these institutes and then come up with it. So that is how I went about it. I hope I answered what you asked, Kaustubh.
Did you get the shortlist from IIM Lucknow then?
I did.
They did. Yeah.
Yes.
Then honesty is the key point, I guess.
That's what I told initially. Honesty matters. Be
Okay.
honest. You obviously need to build up some stories in order to, because we do not know everything what we want to do in future. Building stories are important, but being honest to what you are is also important.
Yeah. Thanks for the answer.